anything is possible.
If you try and be patient, it pays off while you're waiting. The seeds you water will grow, the rest will follow. Cause this life's what you make it, and some rules are for breaking. Destiny will play its role, you know. What's meant to be will be, even when it's not easy. Live your life free, no boundaries, even when it's not easy. If you give love, you get love. If you give up, you get nothing. Can't you see? If you just believe anything's possible, don't rush too much. When it gets rough, get tough, sing with me. Through everything, anything is possible. Doesn't always make sense why some things gotta happen. Fight through the rain, cause you know the sun will follow. If you practice persistence, somebody's gonna witness. You're working hard and it shows, you know. What's meant to be will be, even when it's not easy. Live your life free, no boundaries, even when it's not easy. If you give love, you get love. If you give up, you get nothing. Can't you see? If you just believe anything's possible, don't rush too much. When it gets rough, get tough, sing with me. Through everything, anything is possible. Are you ready to go? I've waited for a long time. I must be out of my mind. Now I'm ready for this to start. When the lights go out, it's so dark. When the moment comes, we'll find the part. Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our January Leaders Webinar for Gerber Scout Reservation. I like to make sure that you all are aware that we have moved to Tuesday nights. We will be having these webinars on the third Tuesday of each month going forward, and we are happy that you were able to join us tonight. Chris, can you go to the next slide? As we did in December, if you have questions that are specific to COVID, we would like you to know that we will be following the guidelines that are given to us by our MCC board, and those are based on the most current information that they have from the state of Michigan and the CDC and our licensing agency. You can find the most recent information on the MCC website, and if you have specific questions to that, please email us those directly. Those are not things that I will be able to answer tonight, but if you email, I will direct those questions to the appropriate individuals and we'll get an answer to you as soon as we can. Next slide, please. If you were on the December meeting with us, you know that Mike Solgrove joined us for a brief time. And one of the things that he talked about was providing a legendary scout camp experience. And I just put this up here again because I wanted to make sure you understand that our promise to you is that we will provide you, our customers and guests, the most legendary scout camp experience that we can while you're participating in our life-changing camp experiences and programs year-round. We're committed to providing facilities, programs, services, and leadership that will consistently exceed your expectations. Our Michigan Scout camps, all of them, will be safe havens for experiencing the best of the adventures and values of the Boy Scouts of America. How that applies to what we are doing now Drew and I, and are working with our senior staff, our planning focus going into the spring is that we will strive to plan an innovative program that meets the needs of all Scouts and one that will be provided by qualified and talented staff. We are working diligently to develop programs and make changes in programs to make them the best that they can possibly be. We are actively looking and seeking for staff members to come on board and help to present those programs. And part of that staffing includes a lot of training that will be happening over the spring to make sure that they understand and are able to provide the program for your kids. We are going to work diligently to plan and implement a high quality food service program. That's something that Drew is focusing a lot on right now. We are working together with the other camps to put together menus that meet the needs, working with nutritionists to make sure they're the best menus possible. We are looking at the best way to provide that service and looking at several options as we go forward based on what we're going to be able to do come summertime. We will continue to upgrade and refresh our facilities. We have a group that meets at camp every Friday morning and is doing just those kinds of things. We spent a lot of money on Chafee Bunkhouse over the winter, doing a refresh there and upgrading that facility. We are looking at the business center or the old leaders lounge, and that is in the process of going through some renovations. We are looking at each program area. Drew and I will be to see what we can do to refresh those and make those the most user-friendly facilities that we can. And lastly, we will engage you, our leaders, in our process and implementation. We are open always to suggestions from you. You have my email, you have Drew's email. We want to hear from you. We'd like you to be part of the planning going forward, and we'll respond to you as quickly as we can with any suggestions that you might give us. Next slide. Just to review our summer camp dates, summer camp 2021, session 1 starts June 20th and follows the next 5 weeks. There is a link at the bottom of the slide for registration. If you go to that, it will take you directly to the Gerber reservation page. The gold loyalty plan is still in effect through the end of January. If you are not yet registered and you wish to be participating in that plan, I need you to get online, get your unit registered before the end of January, and send me an email that indicates to me that you wish to be part of the gold loyalty plan. I will then work with you to make sure that we make the additional credits that we need to get your leaders, your 2 leaders, without fees. It has to be done that way at this point because you're past the point which you can put a deposit in. So get online, get your units registered, and then send me an email and we will take care of it from there. Next slide. There were some questions about the fee schedule, and so I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about that. I laid it out kind of on a timeline, hoping that helps you. In January, before the 1st of February, $50 is required per scout and adult leader. That's your first payment per individuals. In February, you'll repeat that, due before March 1st, $50 per registered scout, which then is a total of $100 paid per scout. Merit badge sign up opens for Gerber in March, and $100 must be paid per scout to reserve their merit badge spots. So those 2 payments, the January and February payments, need to be made for a total of $100. That will open up for you to be able to register them for their merit badges. In March, due before the April 5th, is $115 due per registered scout. That gets them a total of $215 paid. And then in April, due before May 3rd, is the final $115 payment. That gets them to the point where they are paid in full. At that point, $110 is required per adult, which gets them to the paid in full part. If you have questions about that, I know there was maybe an error in the leader's guide that, or 2 different pieces of information shared. This is the plan, this is how it's going to go. If you have questions, please give me an email. Deanna, I see your question on the graphic, and yes, I will be happy to send this out in an email. just also know that this whole webinar is being recorded, and you'll be able to find it online on the MCC website. Go ahead, Chris. And while we're talking about fees, I wanted to spend a little time talking about scholarships. Previously called camperships in the state of Michigan, we are using the term scholarship. It's something that people understand pretty easily. And all of your scouts have the opportunity to apply for a scholarship should you choose to do that. There are some guidelines on the website that tell you who's going to qualify. You have to be a registered scout in good standing for a minimum of 30 days prior to applying. You need to be registered with the Michigan Crossroads Council. The scholarships can be used for a youth that attends any MCC operated summer camp. That's day camp, Cub Scout camp, resident, Webelos resident camp, Scouts BSA resident camps. It can also be used for youth attending official council district area or national trainings. We have 2 NYLT courses that will take place at Gerber this summer, and scholarships are available for youth that are attending those training programs. To qualify, a youth must be recommended by his or her unit, leader, and the parents. On the bottom of the slide is the link for where you will find the application for scholarships for your youth. Next slide, Chris. When you go to that page, these are the instructions. And I realize the print is small. I don't intend that you should be able to read all of these at the moment, but I wanted you to see what you were gonna get when you open that site. The key thing is that all of the requests for scholarships must be submitted by April 1st. All the scholarships applications that are submitted by then will be considered based on financial need and available funds. So any scholarship applications received after April 1st will be considered if there are funds remaining. Based on that, if you have a scout that decides to go to camp after April 1st, you still need to fill out that form, and you still want to get that in. There will be 2 other time periods, if you'll see in the paragraph following, where they will go back and allocate any remaining funds. So don't feel that if you miss the April 1st deadline, you can't apply. Please do so, but try to get things in by April 1st. When you're going to do that and you go to the site, you're going to find something called the 2021 MCC Scholarship Process and Worksheet. It's very important that you download that and fill that out before you go online to submit an application. The application is going to ask for information about the scout, about their parents, about the unit, and it also has a spot where you need to include a statement from the unit leader and the parent. All those things are on this worksheet. The worksheet is basically what you're going to see online. If you fill that out ahead of time, then when you go online to submit an application, you'll have all the information that you need at your fingertips. It's an online session that you have a one-shot thing at. You can't turn it off, come back to it in 2 days. So gather all of your information prior to beginning that process so that you can then submit it all at one time and get it turned in. Next slide, please. So we're going to start each month looking at some of the things that you're going to need to do to get ready for camp. And we will talk about different forms and things that have to happen as you're getting your youth ready for camp. So we're going to start with the easiest things that you can work on this month. Health forms and physicals. All scouts, youth and adult who attend a summer resident camp are required to provide the camp health officer with a copy of their completed health forms, parts A, B, and C, upon checking in. Part C is the part that is required a physical. You have to have your physical done. Physician needs to sign that. So as a unit leader, what you would need to do is to collect all this information from all of your scouts that are and adults that are planning on attending. Please check those forms before you come to camp to make sure that they have the signatures in all the correct places. Parents need to sign in several places. It is most helpful to you and to us if you place those forms in a binder or in a folder in alphabetical order. because that'll make checking in a whole lot easier. The other thing to remember is that health forms cannot be returned. We are required by the state of Michigan to keep them for a specific period of time, so we will not be able to return them to you. Please submit copies to us, and be aware that we keep the forms while you are in camp, confidential and locked at all times, and they continue to stay in that way until we're able to destroy them. And at its time, it's 3 years. So just remember that we're not going to be able to return them to you, and remind your parents that you want to get started now. I don't know how difficult it's going to be to get into and get an appointment to get those forms completed. I did mine today and it didn't take too long. So, but start planning ahead. Next slide. The other form that adults and everyone over 21 needs to be concerned with is the DHS form. The state of Michigan requires that all adults age 21 and older request and have on file a central registry clearance form. This applies to staff, unit leaders, and parents or any other adults over 21 who visit you while you're at camp. MCC has created a database of forms that have been turned in during previous years. This is a question that comes up frequently. If you have previously applied for and filed this form with the camp, and you have been continuously registered with Michigan Crossroads Council, we will be able to verify that we have a copy of your form on file and you will not need to request another form. The key to that is you need to be continuously registered, and that, you know, a scout is trustworthy, so I am going to have to count on you for that. So if you turned one in in 2019, the last time you came to camp, or in 2018, we have a record of that and you will not need to do that form again. If you are requesting a form, please have the results mailed to your home address and not the camp. You need to bring that form with you when you come to camp. The same is true for parents. Family night, as parents come into the camp, if they have that form filled out and ready to turn in, it will facilitate their ability to go with their child and explore camp. If they do not have one, they need to be escorted while they're on the property by someone who does. The place you can get this form, the link is on the bottom, michigan.gov/CAN registry clearance. So please share that with your parents and your other adult leaders, and that's something that it takes a little time, so get those in soon. The other thing we're going to do monthly is we're going to spotlight a couple of our program areas. I hope to do 2 each month until we get to summer camp. We're going to start tonight with our high adventure area. Keith Oliver is our high adventure area director. We're really excited to have him on board. He comes with a lot of experience as an instructor and as somebody who works with youth. He is a scout leader. He is an instructor at Grand Valley State University and comes with a lot of high adventure experience. Next slide, please. So at the high adventure area, we have several things going. In the morning, climbing merit badge will be offered, and that is a change from afternoons as it's been in the past. It offers us the opportunity to run 3 classes in the morning, and we ask that your scouts, if they're going to participate in the climbing merit badge, read that merit badge book before they come to camp. This is really designed for scouts that are 13 years and older, and that we ask, one of the things that we require is that they wear closed-toed shoes. It has to do with the safety of climbing on the wall. So three climbing merit badge classes offered in the morning. In the afternoon, the high adventure staff will be involved with the older youth program, the high adventure portion of that. That is a program that will be limited to 12 youth, and they need to be 14 years and older. And we have a schedule of off-property activities that will push them to their limits as they explore some different things. Mondays, we will be hitting the trails with our Fat Tire bikes. We'll be headed off camp for some bike trekking, and we'll be on trails local to the area, but they will not be on our property. On Tuesday, you know, is water day at Gerber, so it's time for them to get their suits and grab their paddles, and they will be on a canoe trip down the White River. White River is very close to camp and it's easily accessible to us, but they will be taking about a 4-hour trek down the White River in canoes. On Wednesday, family night, we will be sticking close to home, and it's a cope day. So they will get to try out their skills on the low course, on the high elements, in time to be back in your campsites by 4 to help you get ready for family night. Thursday is something that's looking like it will be something pretty special. I'm not going to give you all the details on that yet, but we will be involved in a trio of activities like they have not done before if they've been to Gerber Scout Camp. So be prepared to be surprised and amazed. We will be off the property doing something pretty exceptional in the world of high adventure. And on Friday, we will be putting their teamwork skills together. They have worked all week to develop those skills, and they will be competing in some camp-wide special activities and team competitions. So again, remember that your scouts will be dressing appropriately for each day's activities, and the program is going to be limited to the first 12 youth that sign up. We will be looking at a couple of adults, adult leaders that would be able to participate and go along on this activity to lend a hand. But you do not need to send leadership to lead Too Deep Leadership or even any of your leadership with your kids if they participate in this. And there is an additional $30 fee for this program, and it covers some of those off-camp things that they're going to be involved in. Next slide. The other area I'd like to spotlight right now is our shooting sports area. We are really excited to have Carl Boss back as our shooting sports area director. Carl's been gone for a couple of years, and he is eager and excited to be back with us as we go forward into 2021. Next slide, please. As usual, archery will be occurring 5 classes offered every day. They request that you read that merit badge book before you come to camp, and size in these classes and all of these classes will be limited because we want to make sure that kids have the opportunity to get as much shooting time in as possible. Carl will also be offering rifle shooting, 3 classes during the day. 1 in the morning is a combined class with shotgun, and 2 in the afternoon. And that is specific to the fact that we'd like to get some of our Eagle Plus kids to be able to participate in rifle shooting if that's possible, and if they'd like to do that. In the morning, we will have shotgun shooting. That is recommended for youth that are 13 and over. And sizes, again, there will be kept small because of the need to not shoot as many people, allow as many people to shoot at one time. So those are the things that are being offered there. I know that Carl is busy working on some extra activities for adults and some evening things that we can do. And as those become ready to go, we'll fill you in on what they are, but for sure know that there will be some extra things to do out at the range this summer at summer camp. Next. I want to just spend a couple minutes talking about Betty Ford Adventureland. I know that we get some cub leaders here and they're just itching to find out more about what we have planned. So next slide, please, Chris. Drew and I have set dates for our Cub Scouts. We have sessions, 8 sessions for Webelos starting in June, the same time that we start our Scouts BSA camp, and they go through the 3rd week in July. Those sessions are 4 days and 3 nights. Cub Scout sessions, we have 1 that happens at the beginning of July, and then the remainder of them are toward the end of July and the beginning of August. And I'm looking at my slide right now, and I obviously can't count because I skipped session 4. But anyway, it's a numbering thing. Just be aware, leaders' guides are being completed right now, and they will be available to you in the next couple of weeks. Registration and information will be live on the website February 1st, so you'll be able to get more information and get your units in your group scheduled then. And also be aware that sessions may be canceled based on registrations. We've put a lot of sessions in there with the hopes of filling them all, but if we have some that are not filling up, we will make some adjustments there. Next slide. Coming soon at Betty Ford Adventureland. If you've been on our Facebook page, you have seen some of these pictures before. That is a picture of the new shower house at Betty Ford Adventureland. It is very exciting. That old rickety building is gone, and this lovely facility is taking its place. There, it comes with restrooms, individual showers. There are laundry facilities. We have handicap accessible restrooms and showers, and we have family restrooms and showers. So this is a very exciting component to Betty Ford Adventureland and what we have to offer for the summer. Continue to watch that Facebook page because we will be, Drew updates those pictures weekly so you can see the progress and how things are going there. Next slide. Some general information regarding Gerber. We are hiring. We are looking for staff. We are looking for CITs, for 16 to 18-year-old staff, and for older staff, adult staff. If you have youth in your unit, or if you have adults in your unit that you think would be interested, please share the link to our staff application online. It's right here. You can also find it on the Outdoor Adventure tab on our website. We have a lot of volunteer opportunities for adults at camp. If you have some time to give, please contact me. My email address is there. We are looking for volunteers who might be willing to help out during summer camp. We are looking for commissioners for each week of summer camp. We are looking for some other people who can just maybe come up 1 day or 2 days during the summer camp sessions to help out with some things that we have going on. In addition to that, we would love to have you volunteer anytime that you have to camp. We have a group that is meeting every Friday morning. Like I'd mentioned before, that is, we have a work day and we get some projects done. I know that Chris Tower, our ranger, is also looking for people to volunteer for some work days that he has set up that will occur on weekends. So if you're employed and you can volunteer some time on a weekend, we would love to hear from you and we'll match your skill set to projects that we have going on. So please feel free to send me an email, send Drew an email, ask your questions about how you can help out. We also would like you to know that Gerber is open for rustic camping. We have 5 campsites open that can be reserved on weekends at no cost to you. We would love to see your troops come up to camp. We do not have use of buildings yet because of COVID regulations, but rustic camping is available. And lastly, there are events happening at Gerber over the winter and into the spring. Please watch the Facebook page for information about those and check the MCC calendar for more information. We have many events planned, especially as the snow goes away, to give your scouts opportunities to come to camp and start to experience the fun things that are going on there prior to coming for summer camp. And the last thing I have is thank you. And it's a huge thank you. You have been so patient and so understanding as we go into this and don't have all the answers that you need. Please continue to be that patient and also continue to reach out to us with your questions and your thoughts and your suggestions. And lastly, a thank you for all that you have done and all the things that you're doing and all the things that you will do for Scouts and the youth in your community. At this point, Drew, is there anything that you would like to add or anything that you would like to say?
Yeah. So kind of going back to what Mary was talking about with the camper ships, there's a great opportunity coming up here in a little bit. You'll get more information in a couple next month. Is a Take a Hike-a-thon. It's a great fundraising opportunity for your unit to and your scouts to raise some funds to fund your outdoor experience, but then it can also help pay for some of the stuff for camp as well. So look out for more information coming soon later on in February about that Take a Hike-a-thon. Also, just a question that came up towards the beginning for Steve. For the staff that are people, the scouts that have already applied to be on our staff, Mary's been working hard to email them back and let them know. We've been working on getting our staff interview dates up, and she's been emailing them first to let them know our dates that we have for those so we can get them scheduled. If they haven't heard anything, have them reach out again, or actually make sure that they have applied, or they can email us to see if their application actually came through. But go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, just to let everyone know in that regard, we will be doing our interviews in February, the 17th through the 20th, and those will be virtual online interviews by appointment. So they haven't heard because we waited to get through a little more of this COVID thing before we got that deep into it. We will be reaching out to them in the next 2 weeks to make sure they all have a time slot set up. Go ahead, Drew.
Great. Mary, do you want to take Jim's question about the
Yes.
adoptive program?
Yes, Jim. All a unit has to do is get in touch with me, and I guess yes, they're more than welcome to come up in April or May. If their program area happens to be in a building, and I don't think we have that situation, we're going to have to see once what that looks like. But certainly, yes, we'll have that opportunity to get people in to clean up their campsites or their program areas in the spring. An email to me is sufficient to get that on the calendar.
Thomas, we will definitely, I know Mary has created an awesome flyer. We will be working with our marketing team to get that post about our rustic camping. And we can definitely send you that flyer that we have on the rustic camping opportunities.
Right, and all you need to do to reserve a campsite is to go to the Michigan Crossroads Council webpage under Outdoor Adventure tab, and it's under Facilities Rental. And you can reserve a campsite, and there is no fee for your unit to reserve that campsite.
Awesome. The last thing I have is just, as Mary has said, thank you guys for coming on tonight, and we look forward to seeing you the next few months as well for any pertinent information that we have for Gerber. But thank you for everything that you do in your units, and thank you for coming up, registering to come to camp, whether it's at Gerber or at one of our other MCC camps. We look forward to seeing you guys this summer and having you back.
Thanks, Drew. Thank you, everybody, for coming on tonight. Continue to communicate with Drew and I via email or phone calls, and we and we are go ahead, Jackie.
Yes, Jackie, you have a question?
Oh, there. Am I unmuted now? Am I here?
You are.
Okay. Hello. Thank you. I've never been on my phone before. It's very confusing. I'm taking over helping with camp registration for our troop, and the question the previous person handling this, Bonnie, wants to know, is that the initial $50 or something required to register? Is there a way that individuals can just pay that themselves through Scout Pay, or does that first initial deposit still have to come through the troop, and the troop has to apply it to the Scout? If I'm asking that correctly.
You are, and I think, and I don't have the answer, but maybe Drew or Sean does. What she's asking is, does that initial $50 payment have to come through the troop, or can it be done through the parent portal, the way that subsequent payments can be made? Can anybody speak to that?
I believe it can be done through the parent portal on the Black Pug registration. You can have the parent go in and pay on the registration for the unit. I'm not quite sure how that is, but I can definitely get you the information on how to do that from our matter experts that we have on our staff.
Yeah, that would be great. She just, over the years, she said it was so messy that she always had to collect it, and it was putting a lot of work on her. You know what I mean? As opposed to just letting each individual scout log in and pay their deposit.
And Jackie, what units are you with?
I'm with Troop 215,
Awesome.
Eagle something. Sorry, I'm learning.
Not a problem.
Eagle Spirit.
Drew, sorry. It is separate from Scout Pay, our registration portal. However, what I recommend that we do for the specific steps is, Drew, if you could check with Rebecca or Bill and just email out to everybody on the call or on the webinar tonight the specific steps. And
yeah, I can definitely do that.
great.
Good. So then there's another question on the chat room about what are the plans for dining with potential restrictions from COVID? Drew and I have had some discussions about this, and it's a decision that will be made later at the point in time where we know what those restrictions might be. But what you need to be aware of is our dining hall is able to hold 750 people. So if given the number of people we have in camp on a given week, we can socially distance pretty well in our dining hall. And we will be looking at those kinds of things as we move forward. We were on a call nationally, Drew and I were, and learned some things about how other camps handled that over the summer and are taking those kinds of things into consideration. If we can tell you this, if we get into a situation where we are not able to serve or eat in our dining hall, we will be going to a patrol cooking method where we will provide for each meal all the things that you need to prepare that meal in your campsite. We are not going to try to deliver hot food to 15 campsites. It is just not realistic to be able to make that happen. So we will be looking at that as time goes on, and as soon as we are aware that we're going to do something different than you are normally used to, we will let you know.
And just as a follow-up to that, Mary, that is very correct. That's a good answer. And we did today have a phone discussion with our state of Michigan point person who will deal with us on the COVID guidelines. We as a council for each camp will have to submit a COVID readiness plan. And quite frankly, in our conversation today, we know all the options that we may have to do depending on what level we're at. But as of today, the recommendation from our state of Michigan reps is just to hang tight because we don't know exactly what the scenario will be, not just with food preparation, but what we're allowed to do in each program area, how we're going to do check-in, how many sites at each camp, how we're going to flow to and from each site at camp. What I would recommend is, for example, things haven't changed from this webinar versus last month, but please attend these meetings because as we get closer, those plans will be more vetted out and we'll be able to share more information with you. We will follow from a safety perspective, we will follow the state of Michigan requirements to the T. We don't know what those will be at that time, but based on what we hope to get that information in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Thank you, Sean. So Jim has a question about would class times be adjusted if we went to in-camp cooking? And we would look at that and that is not needed. A large amount of time is right depending on you and how that goes through something we haven't had for recognizing it is a long time so we haven't into anybody else? If not, we will adjourn for the evening, and we will see you all in a month for our next webinar, the third Tuesday in February. Thank you again for coming, and we appreciate your time. Thank you.